Today we have Peter Kostandenou on. Peter is not only the CEO of MoPro, but he is also a famous TikTok star, DJ. Peter, what do they call you on TikTok?
DJ Revival.
Yeah, DJ Revival. Oh gosh, I can't believe you're saying this, Colin.
Of course, of course. But you know, what's interesting is that you're really good at getting noticed. And today's topic's all about how do we get our startup noticed? How do we get found on Google? How do we get exposed? Like, how do we, we put so much into who we are and what we do in our startup, but yet sometimes I think we don't put enough into, you know, getting people to find us, especially online. Peter, you're CEO of MoPro. Can you just kick it off with a bit of an intro of yourself, your background, and how you can help these startups today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for inviting me. Can you guys hear me well?
Perfect.
Okay, good. Um, so a little bit about me. I guess I've been in digital marketing, specifically marketing technologies for probably 20 years. So I've seen it all from the days of, just having a website, and having a website alone would get you found because you were online and your competitors weren't, to the point where, we saw everybody, getting online, and everybody trying to fight for getting found online. And the way, you'd get found online was you'd get a website, and then, there were some tricks of the trade that, we called SEO, that we were able to employ on websites in order to get people found. And that has, all evolved into what we're seeing today. And what we're seeing today is, it's, a lot of people in the industry, they're calling it a headless, it's headless, right? So you don't have one head, you need to be everywhere. And it's amazing how many, startups and small businesses come to us and still are looking for just a website. And the next question is, do you do SEO, and can you get me found? And, you know, what we do, SEO will still work for certain niches, but Google is, although it's the definitive as far as getting found, it's amazing to see how searches are expanding and the way people are finding either product or services. Um, it's no longer just about the website. We're seeing a big transformation on online commerce, right? There's a big migration that's going on right now, and companies like Shopify are thriving, but the next, you still need a website, and you still need, your online store, but you know, Facebook and, Amazon and TikTok and Instagram, 30% of the US are currently purchasing and purchase from social. That's an interesting number. We generally follow what is going on in China around this number, and China's already at 50%. Like, think of it, half of everything that is bought online actually gets bought through a social media channel. That is really, really powerful. But can also be harmful. So, um, you know, the biggest problem that, we all have as marketers right now is, one algorithm change, and your business can go from hero to zero in no time. And that's pretty scary, especially if you're only focusing on one channel. Like, I know a lot of companies that, they do their Google pay per click. Um, they'll do you know a e-commerce store, and try to get on Amazon, and start selling, but they become accustomed to basically that traffic that is coming from pay per clicks. And all it takes is, we saw what happened with Apple last summer. Apple decided that they were going to be the first, and from a device perspective, in not following people's cookies unless they give authorization to do so. And it's created a mess, right? Like, if you're an Apple or a device user, every time you go onto a website these days, they're going to be asking you that this website tracks cookies. Do you accept? And, at the end of the day, you, we went from seeing, fabulous success on Facebook and our businesses and our um, companies that come to us, to all of a sudden, horrible results. And, just to help put into perspective, for those of you that have been using, you know, any form of paid traffic, like, it started with GDRP in Europe. Then the cookie ban by Apple in June, and Google's going to be forced to ban cookies in 23. So, you know, we saw costs in June when Apple actually shut things down. We saw costs skyrocket. They were 5 times higher. We were starting to see costs skyrocket um, prior to that. And, a lot of it was due to COVID, right? During COVID and the lockdowns, everybody was trying to start their own business, and a lot of them were trying to start e-commerce stores. And
Okay, Peter,
you know
you're killing us because you're painting such a scary scenario. We're all
oh,
startups.
okay,
We
no,
want to get
well,
exposed. So no. Don't get me wrong. You've set the right stage here. But now we got to come up with a solution. How do we help the
yeah,
startups here? How do we take this complexity and then bring it down to a simple way for a startup to get more exposure on the internet? And I think that's what we want to talk about. I appreciate you scaring the heck out of every startup in the room.
sorry, I live, eat, and breathe this all day long. And anyhow, okay, so how do you actually get found? Okay, so I'm not going to get into a lot of the, obviously paid search is one method, but you don't want to rely on it, especially as a startup. You don't have the money, right? The best way to get yourself found is, I say to everybody, get yourself listed anywhere and everywhere that would make sense for your business. So, TikTok, get yourself an account. Again, like, I started just, again, like Colin said, like, just DJing as just for fun during COVID, just to, you know give me something to do. And the power of TikTok, and I've seen it rise in the past year. It is phenomenal. um you can go on there and just offer, obviously I just do it for fun with music, but I've got 100,000 followers, and I don't even try, to be quite frank. So it's a great way, helping people and showing them how you can help them, or how your product can change their life or save them money, whatever the case may be, whatever your value prop is. Get that out there. And video right now is the best way to do it. Don't overproduce your videos. The days of highly polished produced videos, they're gone. Everybody just wants real, down earth, from your phone videos. And it's there's no secret sauce, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, right? You need to get yourself out there. You need to get on Facebook, obviously, on Instagram, but being active, you really need to be active. And on top of that, um reviews, like the latest stat is 93% of anybody who makes any purchasing decision these days is using reviews, right? Like, if I know myself, and I'm sure everybody out there uses reviews, from anything from looking for a service near you, to a product that you might want to buy, or software, or whatever the case may be. We all look at the reviews, so having reviews and getting reviews is critical. It is probably the number one thing that people don't realize, how really important it is. A lot of people are using the hope and pray strategy, right? Hopefully people will like us, and hopefully they'll leave us a review. And you know if you're going down that road, you're going to get killed in a couple of years, because it's all about your reputation, and your competitors are all getting reviews, so you need to be getting yourself reviews. Now, how does a startup get reviews? Well, you need to start getting obviously get yourself found. Again, like, I can go on and on. Like, there's obviously the growth hacking things that you can do out there, by you know giving away free things, blog posts, a lot of information that can help people. All right, then that's how you start to gain their trust. But as far as getting found, a startup, Colin, like, can be anything from a product, and to a service, to a local business, and they all have their own little idiosyncrasies. But for the most part, you need to, I guess what I'm trying to say is, um you need to end up
So,
where you need to end up and be found, right? And then once you're found, just because you get found, you're not going to get selected unless you've got a good reputation. And reputation management online is, I tell everybody from day one, start
okay.
building your reputation.
So Peter,
Yeah,
I got a great domain name. I got a website. Now, I'm going to tell you, maybe you disagree with me, but what I would suggest people do, which I find a lot of people overlook, it's kind of one of those things that's not really on the radar for a lot of folks, is to really start building out your content on Google My Business.
100%.
Now,
Well,
I
100%.
find a lot of people look at it and they go, oh, it has store hours and location. Therefore, I don't qualify because I don't have a store location. But I'm
Yeah,
here to tell you that's not true. One of the e commerce businesses we use, we put a lot of effort into our Google My Business. It's an online store. So it's open 24 hours a day. We do actually a lot of content. And I don't know if anybody, has looked at this closely recently. Type in search, a name of a business. You'll see it takes up a significant amount of space on the right hand side of search results, and it's free,
yeah,
and it indexes very fast. Another thing that we do, this is at meowingtons.com, that is a bit of a hack, I would say, is we do a lot of, comics. Like, we do like 6 posts a day, and we do, probably about 2 blogs a week, and a lot of content. You get what I'm saying here. We actually go and post our blogs there too. There's not a specific tab actually for blogs. So what we do is we post it under things like news. And we find that it has made us a significant improvement in SEO for us just by doing that. And like I said, obviously it takes your, time and effort, but you don't have to pay at all for it. And I think it's a really cool way, and from what I'm hearing, It is extremely effective. It's been extremely effective for us. I'm curious if you have any insight into that or to some other cool hacks like this that we can do without dumping a lot of cash. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take you through. So we worked very closely with Google when we were building out our Pro platform. And what we wanted to do was to figure out, how do I get a small business with limited budget found on the first page of Google? And it's amazing to see how, users have, or just buying decisions have all changed, right? Google has an initiative right now where they want to try to provide as much choice versus, listing websites. They're trying to provide as much choice and to customers so they can make an informed decision on who they want to work with. And it's amazing to see how Google has slowly changed. Like, if you do a search for anything local, right? And Google, like 48% of all of Google's searches are what's called near me queries, right? Near me optometrist, or I'm looking for a restaurant, or I'm looking for, landscaper, whatever the case may be, doctor, anything. Um, that's 20 million searches for a small business every 60 seconds. It's incredible. That number blew me away when they told me that. Um, and what they've done is, obviously, if you look at the first page of Google, especially above the fold, 30% of the screen real estate goes to pay-per-click ads. And that's generally, anywhere from 2 to 4 ads that they'll put up there. 50% of the screen real estate on Google is taken up by Google My Business. It is critical. And you're right, Michelle. A lot of people think, oh, well, I have to be a local business to serve. No, you don't. It is open to any businesses out there. And like you said, it's free. The key to it, and you hit it, Michelle, is content. How rich is your content? The more content you're providing, Google loves that, right? Because the more content you're providing, the more content that they can actually provide to customers and give them better, uh, in their eyes, a better business to select from. And reviews, right? So they're also, Google reviews, critical. Yes, there's other platforms with reviews, but you want to start getting found on Google, reviews, and Google My Business. It's huge. And then after that, what you're going to get is what they call the directories and aggregators, right? It's the Yelps, it's the Foursquare, Judy's Book if you're a contractor, Rate MD if you're a doctor. Like, there's so many of these directories that are vertical specific. They come up as well, right? So that is the number one thing any small business these days, can do immediately right now. And like you said, it gets indexed quickly. Try to provide as many photos, videos, like I like what you guys do with the blog posts as news. That's a cool idea. But yeah, as much information you can provide, and is regularly updated. It's critical versus just a dead, you know, page. Um,
Jeff,
the other thing,
hey Peter, Jeff wants to jump in there for a second.
yeah,
No, I was just going to say, we're talking a lot about posting content in Google My Business, but also, Peter, how important is it to engage? Just getting reviews is half the battle, but it's really important to respond to those reviews because people are looking for authenticity. People want to do
yeah,
business with a brand or a company that they feel is real. And one way to show that you're real is to respond to reviews, good and bad. You know, if it's a negative review, maybe you can add some color and explain why it might have been negative or what went wrong. And if it's a good review, you want to thank the person, etc. I've even left a review. Recently, I left a review for an insurance company I did some business with, and they actually sent me in the mail, I guess because I'm a customer, they knew who I was. They sent me a Starbucks gift card and said, thanks for your great review, you know, have a cup of coffee on us, kind of thing. So engagement, it can be a platform for engagement too. Would you agree, Peter?
100%, Jeff. 100%. You know, when we leave a review, you don't normally expect the company to respond, but when they do, it elevates immediately. Psychologically, it elevates that company for you. And when you also go in and look at a business's reviews, if the owners or the business is taking the time to respond to people who took the time to leave a review, it's huge. It's huge. And you know, it's amazing, right? Like these days with reviews, like you said, Jeff, like you know, it can be a customer service issue that you're working through. It's not all just positive, but negative is actually good. When people see a company and they've only got, you know, 10 reviews and every single one is 5-star and they've never done anything wrong, you know, we all know they're, you know, you can't make everybody happy. There's always going to be a negative, and you know, don't delete those. Keep those on there. It actually helps you in a big way.
All right, let me just reset the room real quick. If you like the topic, share the room on Clubhouse. There's a little icon, second from the left on the bottom of your phone. It says number 5 right now. Share the room on Clubhouse, and we'll get a lot more people in here. We also want you on stage. We want to make this interactive. This is about sharing ideas or hacks or tips or ways to get exposure online. And if you're in the audience, you have an idea, please raise your hand. Let's have some fun here. If you have a question for Peter as well, or Jeff, or Michele, or myself, you know, please raise your hand. Come on stage. This is all interactive. This is Clubhouse. That's what it's all about. And we're pretty excited about the topic. I know I am, because what's interesting about the way we think about this is if we just spend a little bit of time thinking about it, it doesn't cost a lot of money. In fact, it costs nothing. I was doing a review of our title tags for Startup Club this week. And I noticed the title tag was very limited. It was basically just Startup Club. Pretty much that was it. And I'm thinking, geez, what are the words that Startup Club wants to own on the internet? Because I don't know if you know this, but we actually have a website. It's called startup.club. If you go on Google right now and you type in Startup Space Club, you will see that we're number 1 on there. But I began to think about what are the words that we want to own as a club on the internet? And this is part of what I talk about when I do cohorts or work with incubators and do talks at their sessions. I talk about owning your space, including the internet, and including is Google. If you can get on the front page of Google, what would be the keywords for Startup Club to get us more traffic for that website? And I thought about it for a few minutes, and I said, you know what if we added the word podcast? Startup podcast, because people do go to Google and search for podcasts. So that's one of the new changes we're going to be making to our title tags. Title tags cost absolutely nothing to manage. My wife owns a school, and by the way, they use greatschools.org as a big review site. So you're right about those niche review sites, Peter.
Yeah. Yep.
But a school, and I went to look at those titles week as well, and I realized that we don't really have the title tags correct. Often by adding a geo, especially if you are geographic based, by adding a geo, that's an important idea. We don't want to be Montessori school for all of the United States. We're okay with just being Fort Lauderdale Montessori school and making certain we're on the front page. So take a look at those title tags. I love to talk about reviews. I never understood this Google My Business until today, that there's something more than just SEO. So that's pretty cool. If there's other ideas you have in the audience, please come on stage. We want to hear from you. Any thoughts from the panel here? Michele?
Yeah, I mean, like we're a big advocate of Google My Business. And we have over 1.5 million, social media followers, Facebook followers. I'm going to tell you it really works. But just in case people don't know, if you're doing Google Ads for a product or a service, you hook that up as well to your Google My Business, and you'll get a product feed there. It's very, very cool. And like Peter said, you'll get real product reviews. The other thing, if you're a business that has events or time based items, you can also post calendars. So it's a very robust tool. Again, it's free, and I think it's really great. Another thing, and then let's just get to the audience right away here, is like Peter said in the beginning about algorithms, they change very quickly. And just a note for folks, in case you don't know, right now on social media, the trend is going towards reels or videos, anything that's interactive. If you're not doing that, you're losing out. So, one of the hacks that one of our e commerce businesses does is even if we do a static quote like post, what we'll do is we will add some, small little interactive element to it, and we repost it like a reel or a video so that we can try to get double engagement. And I can tell you it does increase engagement. We saw engagement going down, like straight down when they started making the changes several months ago. We started doing this and our engagement is going straight up now. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of cool little things you can do because, oh my gosh, like even for us, like trying to like produce some big, funny, hilarious, whatever TikTok video, like it's just not going to happen. We're a little business. That's hard to do. But you can take static content, and I'm sure everybody here knows there's an amazing tool called Canva. You can add bits of animation to it or little, surveys, and it can immensely boost your effort. And after all, if you're spending all this time doing it, you surely want to do that. So that's another little tip. I think Peter, we should get right into our audience and let them tell us what they're experiencing and ask any questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna add one more hack onto your list, and that is when you are getting reviews, stream them on your website, right? Stream them on your website. Don't put in one or two testimonials. Everybody knows they're fake. Everybody knows you've asked, they're either fake or you've asked someone, can I put this on? And it's been pre approved and you made sure it was positive. Like those testimonials don't work. What does work is streaming directly on your website all of your reviews from all your channels. There's a lot of plugins if you're using, whatever you're using, whether it's Shopify or WordPress or, even our tool. Like we all have these plugins, all exist. Use them. It's incredible how much it changes, the social trust as soon as someone goes on your website. It's phenomenal. And it also, transforms your website into something that is constantly updating and it isn't just static. So, you know, use those reviews. Another hack that we do with the reviews is if a review is left on Google, we'll then take that review and share it on other channels, right? We'll post on Facebook. We just got another great review from, so and so. Thank you. Just be bold, right? Don't try to, just leave things as it is. You got to get out there and you just got to be promoting yourself everywhere. Okay, let's open it up to questions.
Okay, we have Syed. I hope I said your name correctly.
You're good.
Please, tell us your experience, your question. What can you tell us today, please?
Thank you so much, Peter, Michelle, Colin, Jeff, all the team. Awesome conversation. My name is Syed. I'm an online medical educator. Have a startup as a platform on social media. So we teach on social media, and it's all about medical education. And I love what you guys are talking about, Michelle and Peter, about the Google websites, SEO, and creating content as posts, as blogs. But I want to kind of bring in a new direction from my experience. While I think Google and websites are still important, I do think that they're outdated. They are no longer where everyone is. Uh,
100%.
and the reason why I say that, really, Peter, is because if you look at it, right, look at a person from 16 to 28 or 35. You'll notice that most of their time when they're not busy with work or their 9 to 5 or family, they're sitting on social media. They're on the toilet on social media. They're scrolling through TikTok. They're waiting for a train. They're on social media. So I say engage them where they are the most.
That's right.
Believe it or not, I when I search for a restaurant, and believe me, I'm 30 years old, falling into that bracket that I was talking about. When I think about like going out to eat or doing something, I don't look on Google anymore. I really do look on Instagram. I look on TikTok. I look for like people recommending things or food bloggers talking about what's in my local area rather than Google. Well, but I do 100% agree with you guys that the Google footprint has to be there and it should be maintained because that'll always be the mountain that we can't get across, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add some value to if some topics of social media are concerned. I've grown many social media platforms of family and friends. I don't do this as a business, but I help people out however I can. I have one of the fastest growing online medical education platforms on social media. So
Good.
happy to be here, and thanks, guys. Awesome conversation.
Yeah, that's, hey, thank you for jumping in. You hit it right on the nail. Be where your, viewers are. And you're absolutely right. The younger generation is all on social media. Even the older generation, to be quite frank. But um yeah, less and less Google. And it's amazing to see how social, like I said, in China, 50% of all purchases that are made or purchase decisions are on social channels. So really cool to hear.
Oh, Peter, I actually wanted to just say one more thing to your what you were mentioning about how creating content on like you were on TikTok and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't focus on your business or your startup
No.
when you're creating a startup page. So if you're on Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, don't talk about your business. At least for the first 100 posts, do not talk about your business at all. Just give your flavor, give who you are in your original content. And then when you're ready to drop your, business plug or your product service or anything, drop it every 4 days. And even then tease it in a way that incorporates into the niche that you're a part of and that originality that made you popular with your first 100 followers
Yeah.
or what people loved about those first 100 posts. Do not be one of those people that are posting your logo everywhere, posting your business, your product in your hand every second you get on camera. No one likes it. No one wants it. I scroll through it all the time. So sneak it in with your originality and content and flavor, and I promise you, you will achieve such great heights.
Very, very well said. That's exactly what you need to do. Any other questions from anybody?
Johan, you've been patient. Nice to see you again. What do you have a question for Peter or a comment? I saw you mentioned in the chat you were having some trouble getting onto Google My Business.
No, I don't have a question. I wanted you guys to make it clear because Google is not one of the only search engines, right? And although it's it's a very good tool. My advice as well, because a lot of companies kind of, if they don't have a brick and mortar or a way to be able to, because Google does their verifications, right?
Yeah.
And so not every startup is going to have those eligibility factors. So yeah, Google's a great tool, but it's limited to some startups. So I wanted you guys to just like really say that because I already know being that I'm a tech startup, everything I do is virtual right now until I get a brick and mortar. But I'm not going to be able to do the find my business. I'm not selling a particular product that goes. Do you know what I mean? So it's not as easy, and that's what I was saying in the chat. But I do have some points. And I really liked what Said said, because he's so correct on that. That he was spot on. But when it comes back to SEO, there are several things I think. It doesn't matter what your business is or what your startup is. You know, you got to go back to the old roots. Some things that aren't broken, you should never try and change them. Yes, we have to move forward, but things like yellow pages, right? A lot of people forget that these things, they show up on search engines, and if you kind of have to have that backlink, right?
Yeah.
So that's key. And I know there might be some novice entrepreneurs, and I'm novice to startup, but I've opened up businesses before, and so I've delved in deep to this SEO strategies, and it changes, trust me, and it's frustrating. But yellow pages, that is something that people fail to realize is important, because you're just not recognized if they can't find you.
Excellent, excellent point. Yes, Yellow Pages is an aggregator of businesses, right?
Yeah,
Just
it's
like
like old
Yelp
school.
is, but a lot of people forget about the Yellow Pages. So that's great that you brought that up.
Right. And also alternative search engines. Now you see, the thing is Google is a beast in the industry, right? But not everybody likes Google. And so don't limit yourself to just Google. There are many more different search engines. You also need to be adding your details to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a he's an internet guru when it comes to online marketing. Guy's name is Neil Patel, and I had an opportunity to chat with him. And we were just talking about, where the direction is and, where he thinks the direction's going. And, I agree with him, right? It's social, the
It's
social
definitely social.
channels. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's going 30% in North America are buying off social. They're not even going to Google. So, if we're
Exactly.
going to follow where China is at 50% in the next few years, like it's going to go that way, because you're right. People are, Google is the beast, but, they've
They're
also,
not the be all and end all, and not,
exactly.
the fact that they exclude some businesses puts it in some limitations, right? Another thing I've noticed is companies that weren't typically a social network, but it was well, socially networking, but like things like LinkedIn, I say, because it's always kind of been a social network, but they've kind of adopted this thing where they're, sharing reels and sharing posts, shall I say, is something a lot of people don't realize how key LinkedIn can be for another, because it's a social networking tool, but people just see it so on a professional basis, but you can reach so many people. So don't sleep on LinkedIn is what I'm basically trying to say, because
Yeah.
Syed pretty much said everything I would have said about what he was saying. The kids are all on their phones, so, but yeah, don't sleep on certain things like LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for link.
Sorry, Michelle, just a caution with LinkedIn. They've become basically a major spammer these days with their advertising
Yeah.
um, platform, right? So a lot of people that I know, like, they just don't even bother going on it anymore, and it's sad because it is such a powerful tool. But do not spend money to send
Oh no,
inbox
never put money in
messages.
it. Never put money in it.
Exactly.
It's all organic. Anything I would recommend is, because I'm bootstrapping my startup. So
Yeah.
anything I'm recommending is so you don't have to put your hand in your pocket. It's still a major tool. And I've seen some success within a few weeks of just focusing on LinkedIn. And I was just like, oh, I was sleeping on that. So I'm just giving that out.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Posting on LinkedIn is great. Just don't fall
Don't go
for their
crazy and
advertising.
pay
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what I was saying. I would like some advice though to Saeed, because I mean he said some wonderful things, and the strategy for social media, because you can get kind of lost because it changes, in the mix of things. And yeah, like Michele said, reels are it. But say if you're a party of one, okay, and you don't have a big budget for, I don't know, like being able to create, I would suggest, and Syed, I would love you to have an input on that for me, please. There are some companies that allow you to do marketing, like video marketing, promo type things where you can get stock, what would you suggest? Because yours is like do your own personal stuff, but if you're trying to promote your business page, how would you advise that, you guys? And that goes for all of the panel members as well, please.
That's a great question, Johan. The first thing I would say is, before I even answer your question, because you brought up yellow pages and things like that, Johan. What young adult knows about yellow pages? I want you to forget about these things. Completely forget about these yellow pages. Even forget about Facebook. I'll go go into that, but it'll make people crazy in the room.
No,
But
I
yeah,
loathed Facebook, so you got me
and
on that one.
Peter got me with his LinkedIn thing. I had no idea, and I'm glad to hear it. The thing with video content, right? And producing originality, your business page is no longer a business page. Don't think of it like that. Think of it as like a creative outlet of who you, Johan, are and how invested you are in your company. Look how investors look at startups, right?
Right.
They look at how much this person is invested and loves and is passionate, right? Passion, passion, passion. So show in your startup, in your pages on social media for your startup, show your passion of you, Johan, of who you are and why you love making candles and how you love textures and the science of it or the chemical compounding of it or whatever else is involved in the candle business or whatever business you have. And what you focus on is showing the BTS, the behind the scenes
That's
of
what I was
this.
gonna say. I was gonna ask you
Exactly.
because I have an idea. I wanted to create a series, and I wanted to let the
Mm-hmm.
public in because there's a lot of
Yeah.
us out here in this room, in fact, who
Mm-hmm.
want to start a startup, is terrified of starting a startup, or started a
Mm-hmm.
startup and is lost. And I feel like if I let you in to see all the things that I've learned along the way, right now I'm preparing to do crowdfunding, and that thing is in depth, right? So I would love to do a series on that. I was thinking that was the angle I was going to go to next, and
Yeah.
just letting them in like short 1 minute tips and tricks back. So you're saying that that's the way forward. Okay, we're on the same page then.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
people love to see how the sausage is made, and then
Exactly.
it also
exactly.
makes you real, and it's a way to promote your business without selling. It's a way
Correct.
to show the authenticity behind the scenes. It's really a great way to do it, and it's so easy now because literally, as Peter said earlier, you've got the production studio in your pocket. You don't have to make a whole big to do about it. You just take your phone out and capture stuff for real,
Yeah.
looking real as it's really happening.
Yeah.
And one thing that I, tell all of our clients is people buy from people that they like and people that they trust,
Correct.
right? And that's always been the case. It used to be face to face. Now it's all through social media. So, you want your personality to come out. You, like Syed said, you can't just go on to social media, and start making videos all about your business and your product and how great your product is. People will start to follow you because they like you. And then if people like you, then they'll buy from you. But the buy comes much, much later down the road.
Right.
Peter,
We
can
all
I?
have, we all think we don't have any talent, or what am I going to teach them? Or we all do, right?
We
Whether
all
it's
do.
something in a hobby or whether it's something that you've learned, like you said, in your business. Like there's other small businesses who would love to get those tips.
Yeah, that's where I was going, and that's why I love that Saeed actually said that, because I'm like, that was where my trainer for. I literally just had a meeting with my partner about that, doing that. He's camera shy, but what I've learned over the years is authenticity. It's always been successful for me, and I've worked with many other people in doing some projects, and they go by the script. And what I found was people resonated more with me because I wasn't using a script. I was
That's
genuine,
right.
and I came off so. And so that was where I was going. I took all of that data from years ago, and I said, I think I need to try a different tact. Spending all this money on these promo things is great because you need some B-roll sometimes, but I need to capture my audience and build faster. And the only way I think I can do that right now, everybody's interested in business. One thing COVID did is make everybody ponder, what if I did my own thing? And so the fear of that, though, leads them to social media to find somebody who could give them free advice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like there's a reason why, Shopify went through the roof during the pandemic. They were growing at numbers that, I'd never
It's
seen in the
ridiculous.
past.
Yeah.
It's a cheap way to try to get yourself started online. Unfortunately, a lot of them just didn't take it seriously as a business. But, there's still a ton of people that probably didn't take it seriously because they didn't know what to do,
Correct.
you know?
Wow,
So
this
there's,
has been pretty cool. I think Saeed and is it Johan? We
Johan.
Johan, we have to get you two to run your own show on Clubhouse because I think you two are you're good back and forth. I like that. And
Thank you.
I like the fact that we have such difference of opinions. That's what Clubhouse is all about. We're trying to solve these problems and figure out what is the secret code that entrepreneurs do to succeed.
Yeah.
I would add that Peter did mention that go every way, that go into everything as long as it's free. It doesn't cost
yeah,
you or almost nothing, right? It doesn't cost you anything to go on Yellow Pages. You might as well just throw yourself on Yellow Pages. You are right.
Oh,
It probably doesn't. It probably doesn't work for the most part for the younger generation, but it might work for an older generation. We
Colin,
do want to
I'm gonna throw. Sorry, Colin. No, somebody I interrupted somebody.
go ahead.
Sorry,
No, go
Colin. I
ahead.
wanted to throw in a little caveat, right? Because I downloaded an app in 2019. It was a very relatively new startup called Fanbase. If those that don't know, I think they need to jump on it because they just raised a major round. Okay,
it's
and
huge.
it's
Their
huge now. And like
fan base is
I
huge.
came off the platform in 2020 because it had a lot of glitches and obviously it was a baby in its industry at that moment. I came back on it like a week ago, and in a week I've already made like $4 with doing nothing but building my page. And so that's also a really great platform. If they don't know, they need to get to know. I'm like flabbergasted how exponentially it's grown.
Yeah, it that
So
and Twitch, like huge,
right.
huge, huge. But again, Twitch is very. They're trying to be more like a Facebook. They started off as gaming, and it's still predominantly gaming, but they're trying to open it up to all kinds. Like I know a bunch of people who are trying it out right now, actually.
Yeah, but
I
don't
do
sleep
want to move.
on fan base. It's
Yeah,
cool.
awesome advice. We do want to move to Keepler. I know you've been on before. Keepler is the pronunciation, or is it Kepler?
It's Kipler, like K
Keepler.
jewelry. Yeah, Kipler.
Keepler.
So yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. So I do have like two advice and a question to ask. So advice would be to use affiliate marketing to get more traffic to your products. So essentially, because you're not getting any risk, so you get your affiliates, and then they have to show it to their audience, and they get a percentage based on whatever you guys decide would be good. So that means you guys are not getting any risk, and neither are they, because you guys are creating the product, and they're getting a profit share from selling. And this is also for Johan. You can put your startup on Google My Business. I did the same thing. I'm the CEO of Church Network. We're a mobile app for churches and Christians looking for spiritual abundance. And my question is, I created content for my startup, and I have a little watermark. And Saeed said not to do that, so I was just wondering what his suggestions are for that, because it's just a picture with Bible verses and things like that.
Hey, was that directed to me about watermark?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Kepler, I'll say, look, keep a watermark so people cannot steal your content, but keep it transparent and embedded into your content. For example, right, you have a company name like uh, Coffee R Us, right? I was looking at this company, Coffee R Us. Now, if you have that in the middle or the right corner or something, it starts to look like an ad, right?
Mhm.
It looks like a logo that's imprinted on a video that's been being paid in the funnels and all that kind of sort of thing. No one wants to watch that, man. It's boring. It's looks like a commercial. So instead, embed your at business name into your video or static post, and just embed it somewhere there so people can retake it. But also, don't care about people copying you or stealing your content. That's number one. Do not even worry about it. No one can be you, and no one can produce what your business is all about.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, great. Russell, you're up next. A newbie to the Clubhouse. So Russell, you'll want to click on the bottom right to click off of mutes. If not, then I'm going to go back to you. Do we, because earlier, Michele, you had said that you could do a Google My Business without an address, or like you're a national e-commerce brand, but Johan said she couldn't do one. So I was just trying to
Okay, yeah,
figure that one out.
yeah, and I've helped a lot of people do this actually. So everybody sees here we're Startup Club. We actually also run an incubator here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida called startups.club. And I'm sure there's places like this all around the world. There's two ways that you can verify into Google. One is by a phone call, and you're just kind of randomly waiting for it for days or whatever, because they have to authenticate, which is smart of them, obviously. And then, second, the way to authenticate is they'll mail you a postcard to your business address. So what we actually do for people is, free or for a very nominal amount, whatever, $15 a month, we let people have a real physical address. And I know there's a lot of services like that. And, at least the people that we've all worked with and our businesses, we've been able to authenticate in using that kind of address. So it's a bit of a hack, but in our experience, it does work. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Sorry,
Peter,
Michele. Oh,
oh, sorry,
sorry.
go ahead, Johan. No, yo, keep
Michele,
going, keep
just
going.
because okay, let me explain why I struggle. I've used one of those virtual, it's like a brick and mortar mailing address, right? So it comes up as a physical address, and so most places bypassed it, right? But recently, yeah, people have been finding it, and like for instance, my bank, I had to actually change my physical address, and switch it out because my bank flagged it, right? And it was like, and I did that on purpose, thinking that you spend the time to look for these places that it's a physical address, and it's a PO box, but it's masks, right? But it
Um,
hasn't worked for me.
yeah, ours are not PO boxes. They are real physical addresses. And
So is mine. It's
yeah.
just housed in a way where it's a PO box for me, but it's a physical address, right? And it was flagged. So that's the difficulty I've been having, and so I've been trying to figure out a way around it, and that's why I just paused on the Google. But I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, I don't know because this is a little bit different because we don't run PO boxes. Um, I don't know how widely they are available, but this is what we've done and it's worked. I know they have similar services like that in Asia. Just something to consider, right? If you're having, issues getting listed. I'm sure there's scenarios where it probably doesn't work, but for us, our experience is that it works.
I messaged you, so later after this, I'd love to talk to you more. I live in Florida, so
Oh, cool. All right. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
you got to stop by our incubator. We're in Fort
yeah,
Lauderdale.
exactly. I
It's
didn't even know that you had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Like we actually, we do, we run Startup Club, but we also run an incubator here as well in Fort Lauderdale, and
I
we
live
have
in
about.
Fort Lauderdale. Oh my goodness, are you
Oh my
serious?
gosh, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
seriously?
Oh, are you?
And
I'm
I
5 minutes from Fort Lauderdale Beach. Like, are you kidding me?
All right.
Oh,
Well,
No,
I'm
how
and
so
about
yeah,
actually,
now?
jealous.
yeah.
Johan was on the name game this week too, and has a really great startup idea with Rent to Park. So definitely, you should come
I
by
know
and
I
we can
was
all
looking
talk.
at her business. It looks really
Hey,
cool.
thanks, Joe. Thank you. Well, I don't want to take up any more time. Thank you, guys. I'll touch bases with you, Michele. Colin,
Yeah,
thanks.
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And it was great just listening to you and Saeed and as well. And I'm following both of you, by the way. You're both welcome back anytime you want. Peter, I know you won't say this, but there's that your company, because obviously you're not trying to promote yourself here. I know Mopro, MOPRO.com. You've done. You're very different than Wix and Weebly in that you create a full presence and it's more of a do it for me. So if there are people in the audience you have technically have difficulty, dealing with listing yourself in all these different locations and whatnot, you should check out mopro.com. They've got excellent technology. and I know they'll do it all for you, and all you do is just pay them a monthly fee, and as long as you can pick up a phone, they'll help you put your website together and all that kind of stuff, and all your listings and reviews. And it's really complicated. Like, I didn't, just coming in today, I didn't think about all the complexities. It was so easy back in the 90s, but today it's, man, we
Oh
got
yeah.
we got millennials, we got different segments, we've got, TikTok, and we have just so much. It's
You didn't,
so
we didn't even hit
complicated.
that.
I know we have to run our small business, we have to launch our startup, and on top of that, we have to figure out how to become internet gurus. It's really tough, Peter.
It is, Colin, and that's thanks for the plug, but that's what we provide to our. That's how we differentiate with compared to anybody else, because anybody can build you a website. We build them, but where our magic comes in is we'll get you listed. We get you listed in over 80 different directories. So no matter where you are, we've got AI engines that'll start looking at your social and your social posts, and help you. We can even you know build social posts for you. Like, there, we do everything we've talked about here is essentially what we do. We automate review requests, we monitor your reputation, we do all of that. And we're trying to keep it cheap, right? Like, it's $150 a month. There's no setup, there's no nothing. So we've seen some great successes, and we're quite proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But yeah, it's changing all the time, every day.
Oh, that's awesome. And we'll just close out on that with that note. We want to keep it within the hour. I will say that, and I'm actually on the website right now, startup.club, trying to figure out what is our topic next week. We have a lot of shows. Oh yeah, so next week is really cool. Sheil Manat, funding your seed stage startup. Johan. It's all about this is a gentleman. He's got about 3 or 4 million followers on Clubhouse. He actually was on 500 startups, and we're going to be talking about how to fund that startup, and especially in today's environment, the stock markets are crashing. A lot of things are struggling right now. So we're going to go into that issue next Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern, on the Serial Entrepreneur Club hour. And by the way, we are now on podcast. We've just uploaded all of our episodes on the podcast now. I know it's very new, so we'd love a review on the podcast. But we have 58 episodes on your favorite podcast channel. And yeah, I'm telling you this, if you go back and you listen to some of these shows, you will get an MBA in entrepreneurship. And we've had on many authors, from Jack Daly, Jeffrey Moore, Inside the Tornado, Crossing the Chasm. We had on Peter. We had on Bhavin Turkai. He started 2 unicorns, and he's doing extremely well. And his advice was really good. That's a real special episode to check out. But if you get a chance, check out the podcast. Yes, we're trying to get more audience, not just Clubhouse, but also amplify it, go beyond them, so that more people can hear the message and can hear about how great Clubhouse is and what we did today with Saeed and Johan, and just the way that everybody came together and we all talked about an issue, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and I hope you have too. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week on the Serial Entrepreneur Club Hour.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Be safe. Have a great weekend.